How's it going, everyone? It's your home slice, Kyrandis, and welcome to the Thaemine quick guide where you're going to probably get sliced into the floor for floor POV. Thaemine is a pretty difficult raid and maybe a bit of a raid difficulty shock compared to previous content in Lost Ark. I made this quick guide to cover some things to hopefully increase your success in clearing it. This covers normal only, as hard has other things going on and an additional gate, but I believe mastering normal first is essential to be able to clear hard at a realistic rate. There's a lot going on in this raid to cover, so even though this is a quick guide, it can still be quite lengthy. Keep in mind this raid is completable at 1610 with level 7 to 8 gems and no elixirs, though it's not recommended unless you're playing very perfectly and with high uptime and utilizing battle items, which you should use even if you're not minimum eye level access to get through the raid. A small example, I've been through parties that were like 1630s and 1620s on normal, and we couldn't clear in 4 hours, and it was actually quite depressing. Then I hopped like a few different groups, and one of the groups I went into was like 1610s to 1617s, and we cleared it in 2 pulls, and it took about half an hour. It was actually like very astounding that like gear will not, over gearing this won't carry you through this raid. It's knowing good uptime, full understanding of the dangerous mechanics will get you through this more than anything else. Getting hit in this raid is incredibly punishing. Bad habits you may have grown in older raids will severely punish you here with debuffs such as the critical rune, or also known as fatal scar in Korea. That grants you plus 20% incoming damage per stack that lasts 2 minutes. It's essentially like doubling your grudge penalty on your character, to the point where like even DRs and shields just don't do anything for you. You would just get one-shotted at like 5 or 6 stacks, so really growing that stack is incredibly bad. And the more you have of it, the more you have to play perfectly in terms of dodging, and that's part of your uptime too. Not getting hit by things is part of uptime. Having nearly 2 or 3 will already guarantee you instant death on certain attacks, especially red attacks, even with supports wearing heavy armor. So spend time dodging and utilizing time stop as much as you can. Don't hesitate to burn those, because staying alive will very like high probability bring you through to a clear. The way I've structured this guide is also with the flow of the fight, where you'll see certain major mechanics from beginning to end in that order. Lethal, dangerous patterns will be highlighted in this guide. Only in the beginning of this guide I've structured certain attacks that I find to be the most dangerous and always catches people off guard, kills people instantly due to freefall or like grabs and launches that are something you cannot like avoid other than dodging it yourself. Like your supports cannot shield you, certain attacks lift you, and your supports can't target you with shields. Like you're untargetable, so you're taking guaranteed damage. This is why I say bring elemental pots, because you do need to recover it in case you have like even 1 stack of critical wound at low eye level. That attack is probably lethal for the most part. If you're doing this in hard mode, I'm almost certain it's like a guaranteed kill. So just some things for preparation before we start. Just the 4 items is Time Stomp, Dark Bombs, Lutera's Horn, and Elemental HP Pots. On your skills, do take a skill that has Tenacity, preferably if you have it, whether you're support or a DPS. It will save your life a lot. Put a Protection Rune or Ironwall Rune on it if it has a shield tripod for itself. You put Ironwall. 1 Overwhelm Rune optional if you want to stagger the sword, which is huge during the sword phase. And a Purify Rune to dispel the darkness for yourself in case you get darkness and having no reliance on your support. Lutera's Horn is used here in this footage right here, showcasing to kill your inverted clone where your controls are reversed and it may be hard, and also it's kind of tanky and you have a very short time to kill it until you have some transcendence on your gear that'll give you bonus damage against the clones. One of the first common patterns you need to get used to is the sword assignment, which basically puts a sword on someone's head. They spawns a clone and he does a one-shot and then he does a turnaround slash. You'll see this very often. Early in the fight, this doesn't seem like much, but as the fight progresses, shown here in the footage, you'll notice how dangerous it can get if you are not used to where to stand, as well as like how far he turns. He turns a 180 degree or a 270 degree, but after he shoots the wave, the front is always safe. That's one thing to keep in mind, as well as his left side corner is also safe from where he shot the wave initially, because he'll never turn into that direction. But never stand on his behind or his right side when he's doing the turnaround slash after the wave has been shot. As you can see over here, people getting knocked off, the blast launches very far, especially during the free fall, and if DPS is low or tight or in hard mode, or for instance, I can imagine that the realm gets very filled with a lot of shadow clones, and eventually their one-shot AoEs will also overlap to basically no space to stand around to dodge it. and that's where you'll have to actually burn time stops to live through some of it. Also make sure your placements in the darkness realm are very tight, especially near the end under 90 bars. It's important to place the clones at 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Never place them at 5 to 7 because of the save spot cutscene mech that you have to do later on. And it'll spawn a puddle when you overlap 2 of the clones together into a damage puddle, as well as them shooting off the one-shots. This is important because, especially during the cutscene, you could spawn after the cutscene into the zone where the shadow zones are in this footage here on my Soul Eater, and people essentially just spawn there and die, which is not good. Albion is the first major mech that you see in this fight. You want to get used to this fast and also be liberal with time stops here. You don't want to keep restarting and drawing raid fatigue, especially when others may be at a different experience pace than you. You can always survive this with one time stop after getting hit once if you're unfamiliar with it at the get-go. Otherwise, watch a lot of videos and just get used to the patterns and noticing what to see. Because it is actually really frustrating having to do Albion Simulator with like people who may be at different paces for a long time, so just use a time stop there if you're actually unfamiliar. Or either that, follow the group, like identify who's familiar with the raid and follow them essentially, and you should most likely always be safe until you get used to it as well. The hop the line and back Albion pattern, this one is the most dangerous one that is almost like guaranteed to hit you because the line coming down is so fast. Based on ping as well, it can also affect that as well, which is actually kind of a cheater move and unfair for the pattern. When dealing with red checks, there's only a few that you have to remember in normal difficulty Thaemine. Essentially, there's a left side blast that comes out, the donut, and the star divide in the same spot. The left side blast is the most dangerous one because it comes out almost instantly and it hits far back. Just remember to hug Thaemine's back close during regular sword mode, and there is usually enough time to move out of the way if it's a donut or the star divide. This helicopter chop is very dangerous. Just be wary of the sword spinning above his head like a helicopter and just run away, and then once it's finished, move back in right away. It's time to just be a gamer. This first mech here, you want to dodge the 3 blue pizzas. You don't want to pay attention to red up until the third half arena explosion comes out and showcases it. Then you get prepared to dodge the red. Whoever it's on, just try not to twist it as best as you can, but sometimes that can't be avoided. If you get hit once, just use a time stop right away. This sword fight here is actually quite annoying. As simple as it is and very little patterns you have to deal with this sword, it's actually very important to try and catch the counter when it does it. It's very short and there's very numbered tells around it. Usually it performs about 3 or 4 attacks before a counter exists. Try to catch it as a team and then go straight into a stagger because it grants you a lot of DPS time to fight it. Otherwise, the longer this drags on, the more berserk timer you're losing, as well as like more shadow clones are being placed on the map over a period of time, so you do want to kill this thing as fast as you can. This is also one of the moments where Dark Bombs is actually very useful to push past this sword, as well as when you are in early progging or learning the fight. It is best to actually get out of this fight as soon as possible so you don't run into raid fatigue and you get to see different patterns rather than repeating the same mistakes and areas over and over within your progression. Once you've defeated the sword, Thaemine has a new set of attack patterns, as well as his red checks are now swapped in some of the areas. So the donut now becomes an umbrella, the star divide now swaps its AoE safe spots between each other, and he has a frontal blast instead of left side blast, which no longer exists in Mad Sword or enhanced mode, just to keep those in mind throughout this fight. I call it chops because it's just easier to call rather than Virgil Slash that other guides might reference it to. For this attack, just run away from him. Also, don't hug his back in proximity because the wave slashes can hit behind him. Pretty much a cheater move. Those hits grant critical wound is why you don't want to do that. The 360 white orb shotgun. He holds a bright orb in front of him. Just basically time stop in front of that and body block all the projectiles. If nobody's doing that, just run away from him and start dodging those projectiles. If you get hit by them, you get instilled with fear that's undispellable. This ring knockout is the bane of pretty much almost every party when the freefall phase is occurring, so do notice this pattern and study it quite well and use tenacity and spacebar skills to prevent the knockout. A lot of the shadow clone attacks that Thaemine has, he shoots out a clone or like a smoky cloud of some darkness like near him. Always run away from him for these, just stay away from his front. It's usually very quick and they're also very deadly and almost always get somebody killed. So you can, once you get used to seeing it, you should be more noticeable. But when you're learning, it's actually very, very not apparent. So do be careful with that.
Oh, goodbye.
Oh, that's the whole party. Oh, that was so toxic. Oops.
I think I noticed that when you actually run early towards an area, the spot will actually start closing up. I don't think it's actually random, so do be careful with this. And because I noticed like after so many runs, I actually always just wait in the middle and make a last minute decision and spacebar into the zone, and it always like dodges it.
Any casualties? We're good. Red check. On the back.
Red check.
Frontal blast, I think. Frontal blast. And then a donut or an umbrella. Directly on the back. I'm doing a sword assignment, one shot. Red check. There's a swap.
When you make it to the first clash, it is very preferable for a DPS to catch clash 1 and 2 here. You want to hug Thaemine's back from wherever he spawns and starts charging off to. Be wary of his 3D model, not the frontal and back indicator, because his model is angled weird when he's running there, so follow the horse's model's facing direction, not the indicator. After he does the AoE stomp, the indicator will be on his frontal indicator where he turns to look toward. If you are a clash catching here, do your best to aim for all perfects, as it grants more DPS time to your entire party. This is very important because depending on the strengths of the party, this can actually be very tight or very fast. Either way, it basically is something you should improve and not rely on someone else to always do. Everybody should be proficient at it to some degree, just in case like bad things happen, or just like different areas where he's starting off in and you're just out of position. I haven't done hard mode yet, but I suspect that Clash 2 is actually mandatory due to hard mode having much higher requirements for DPS. So the second clash here is when after Inanna, Thaemine runs off, and then he'll actually lock onto one player and look at them when he reappears and comes back. That is where the clash location is where he is facing initially when he's looking at that player before he turns around. Once you've succeeded that, you've successfully passed the first hard DPS check. There is generally enough DPS to actually clear the raid.
Watch out for FreeFall now.
Okay.
Oh shit, there's a grab launch. There's a grab. He's gonna turn around. Circle AoE on him. Watch out, don't stand too close. There's a clash. Got it.
Nice.
Oh, I almost pressed the wrong key.
No, you got those.
Oh, Jesus. I was like ready to press Q and it was like R and W. Oh. Oh shit.
Oh, really?
Guaranteed. His patterns are normal. So if he does the star, there's no swap, it's no swap.
Okay.
Oh, it's a grab on the back. Just stay on his front, just stay on the front. Oh my god. Or panic tenacity, that was there's a frontal blast, watch out. This is tenacity this as well. Just aimed at you in the front.
We return to our cage together.
Probably a bad idea, because now there's no tenacity. Okay, we're oh, there's another clash. Holy shit, there's another clash here. Wow. Okay, well, we're either dead or we're alive. I don't know. I didn't know there was another clash here. Shit, that's a nice practice actually. Never seen that. Arena swap? He's got the his sword is now alternating again, so if he does a
He's
stomp,
angry again.
It's the one shot. Gather. Get ready to spacebar when he reappears out of his front. Oh, that guy got axed. There's a dark cloud. Get ready to spacebar this or tenacity to slam. Okay, good.
This 180 swing is very dangerous in the freefall phase because it hits people backwards from wherever he swung. It doesn't actually launch you forwards. Be very careful if he's against an edge and then he does this attack because it can actually just pull you off to the edge and then you'll just fall off and die.
That was.
Oh, red check first, red check first. Umbrella. Okay, inversion.
Ooh, inversion.
Oh shit, see look, that's why the fucking drop there is so bad. Holy shit.
Oh, I'm literally just dead off that drop.
Like, that's why you don't,
I was right on
place
it.
there.
It's fine. Still got some people alive. That's good.
My support's dead.
I know,
You
it
got
had to be on top of
murdered.
me.
You actually got murdered. Essentially, like, what the fuck? I swear to god, if we fail just because of that, it's so dumb. Diagonal. Someone else is dead. See, look, it is. That's toxic, that's toxic.
Oh my.
During your progging in early fights of the Thaemine, before you reach the Darkness Realm, it is very important to remember all the red patterns by his motions, not so much remembering the indicators. As you can see here in the footage, it is very, very important because you won't be able to see it due to environmental conditions such as like Shadow Clone Puddles, Darkness debuff from a growing cloud in the middle, his different attacks as well that also inflict more in this phase. So do be careful with that.
That's a clash. Oh, that's not happening. Because of these dumbass placements on the clones, but
yeah.
This on like footage, so you know this is what you don't do.
Yeah, it's looking doomed.
So bad.
Hey guys, welcome to the end of the video. Thanks so much for getting through this guide. I hope it helped. I know it's quite chaotic and information overload. One last thing to mention here is the flow of the fight notification I put underneath the health bar. I know some players I thought were having troubles remembering what red checks or attack patterns were in play via the health bar. So I came up with a story more or less to help remember what's happening to maybe help some players remember which is which. So the story goes, in the beginning, Thaemine is taking it easy on you. So he doesn't swap the red checks, and he doesn't like left-handed people like myself. He throws his sword away, and you beat it up, and it got mad. So now Thaemine is making it harder on you by swapping the red star check and challenging you to his face, which you don't want to be there. So hide behind him, and he won't be able to hit you. His sword got really angry and broke half the arena away, and vented away its anger with the arena. But because there's less space to run around now, he's going to go easy on you again by not swapping the red star check anymore. He didn't like that FreeFall mechs didn't work on you because you're still alive and fighting him, so he's bringing you to a dark place to try to trick you again by swapping the red attacks around, hoping you didn't notice.